Alcoholics don't run in my family, they drive. And they don't just stay on the road. They drive straight through childhoods, crash into marriages, and leave wreckage that lasts for generations. And the scale of this wreckage is hard to comprehend. Globally, alcohol contributes to 2.6 million deaths every year. But death is just the tip of the iceberg. The real damage happens behind closed doors. Usually, when we discuss the dangers of alcohol, we obsess over the drinker's biology. The failing liver, the scarred heart, or the cancer risks. But this ignores the organ that often suffers the most profound trauma without ever touching a single drop of liquor. The brain of the family member. The true tragedy of addiction is not just death, it is disconnection. It is the terrifying paradox of sitting across from a parent or a partner, looking into familiar eyes and realizing that nobody is home. The person you trust has evaporated, replaced by a volatile stranger wearing their skin. You are grieving a living person who is still sitting right in front of you. But how? How can a simple fermented sugar solution hijack the complex machinery of human consciousness? Does alcohol reveal a person's true nature, or does it construct a monster from scratch? To understand this tragedy, we need to shrink down to the size of an atom and invade the besieged fortress of the human brain. Alcohol, specifically the molecule ethanol, is one of the most deceptive substances in the universe. We treat it like a beverage, a social lubricant to make parties fun. But purely from a biological perspective, ethanol is a dirty bomb. Most drugs are like snipers. They target specific receptors in the brain with precision. Ethanol is different. It is a sledgehammer. Because the molecule is incredibly tiny and can dissolve in both water and fat, it has a terrifying superpower. It is an all-access pass. It slips effortlessly through the blood-brain barrier, the heavy security wall meant to keep toxins out of your command center. Within minutes of the first drink, billions of ethanol molecules have infiltrated every corner of the neural city. Once inside, the invasion force begins a coordinated sabotage of your brain's communication network. To understand the chaos that follows, you have to imagine your brain as a massive, futuristic highway system. To keep traffic moving safely, you need two things: green lights and red lights. In neuroscience, the green light is a neurotransmitter called glutamate. It tells neurons to fire. It is responsible for energy, excitement, and memory. It is the gas pedal. The red light is a neurotransmitter called GABA. It tells neurons to stop. It is responsible for relaxation, sleep, and calmness. It is the brake pedal. Alcohol is a double agent. It hacks the system to simultaneously cut the fuel line to the gas pedal and slam a brick onto the brake pedal. It suppresses glutamate and amplifies GABA. This is why the first drink feels magical. The noise of the world fades. The anxiety in your chest dissolves. Your thinking slows down. Biologically, alcohol is a powerful sedative. But wait. If alcohol is a sedative that puts the brain to sleep, why does your dad become loud, aggressive, and violent? Why doesn't he just take a nap? The answer lies in which part of the brain falls asleep first. The captain is dead. The human brain is not a single unified machine. It is built in layers, like a geological dig site. Deep in the basement, we have the ancient lizard brain, responsible for basic survival. On the top floor, we have the human brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex. Let's call the prefrontal cortex the captain. The captain is the CEO of your consciousness. This is the newest, most expensive part of the brain. It is in charge of everything that makes us civilized: logic, empathy, impulse control, and future planning. When you are sober and someone spills soup on you, your lizard brain screams, "Punch them!" But the captain steps in, checks the social rulebook, and whispers, "No, It was an accident. We are in a restaurant. Be nice. The captain is the only thing standing between you and your inner beast. Unfortunately, the captain is weak. He is exquisitely sensitive to anesthesia. When the alcohol levels rise, the prefrontal cortex is the first major region to go dark. This is called cortical shutdown. The captain gets woozy, slurs his words, and eventually passes out on the floor of the cockpit. This is the moment the monster is born. The moral guardrails are gone. The ability to predict consequences, if I scream, my children will cry, vanishes because the part of the brain that processes the future is currently offline. The cockpit is empty. And when the captain falls, the thing in the basement breaks its chains, the lizard and the spotlight. With the logic center offline, the brain defaults to its factory settings, the amygdala and the limbic system. Let's call this the lizard. The lizard is 200 million years old. It doesn't care about your feelings or your family structure or your birthday. It cares about three things: fight, flight, and mate. It perceives the world through a lens of paranoia and dominance. But the situation is about to get much worse, because not only is the primitive brain in charge, but it is also operating nearly blind. Psychologists have a brilliant term for this phenomenon: alcohol myopia. Myopia means nearsightedness. When a person is drunk, their psychological field of vision narrows down to a tiny pinpoint. Imagine walking through a pitch-black room with a laser pointer. You can only see the 1 inch of reality that the laser hits. You lose the ability to see the context. Let's say you ask your dad to turn down the TV. A sober brain sees the big picture. This is my child. I love them. The result is a simple, "Sure, honey," but the drunk brain is operating in the dark. The lizard is holding the laser pointer, and it only illuminates the demand. A request feels like an order, and to a paranoid lizard, an order is a threat, so it fights back. This explains the sudden rage. If you accidentally spill a drink or let out a sigh, these are just harmless accidents. But the drunk brain zooms in on them until they look like insults. The monster isn't attacking you because it hates you. It attacks out of blindness. It literally cannot see you anymore. Statistics show that roughly 40 to 50% of all violent crimes and homicides involve alcohol. Lizard doesn't just ruin dinner parties, it fills prisons and graveyards. The myth of truth. This brings us to the most painful question that haunts every child of an alcoholic. There is an old Latin saying, "In vino veritas," in wine there is truth. That when your father calls you worthless, he is finally saying what he secretly thinks when he is sober. Think about it. We all have dark, angry thoughts. That is just automatic biology. But the real you isn't the anger. The real you is the voice that decides not to act on it. That filter in your brain isn't a fake mask hiding your true nature. It is the most human part of you. It is the driver of the car. So when alcohol knocks out the driver and the car crashes into a tree, you don't say, "Aha! Finally, the car is revealing its true desire to hit a tree." No, that would be absurd. So, if the aftermath is so painful, why do they do it again? Here is
Just
where
one
bad
more.
choices turn into biological slavery. You see, alcohol doesn't just create happiness out of thin air. It borrows it from tomorrow. Your brain is obsessed with balance. But then, the alcohol wears off. The brake disappears. But those millions of extra gas pedals are still stuck to the floor. The result is a chemical explosion we call anxiety hangover plus anxiety. But the word anxiety is too soft. This is primal terror. It is a chemical panic attack. Your heart races, your hands shake, and you feel a crushing sense of impending doom. The captain wakes up in a cockpit that is literally on fire. The pain is unbearable, and the lizard knows the only way to put out the fire: drink again. Not to have fun, but just to silence the screaming in the neurons. And that is when the trap snaps shut. Hope and the future. This is a dark story. It is a story of biological hijacking, but it is not a hopeless story, because the brain has a hidden superpower: neuroplasticity. Your father's brain is not carved in stone, it is living clay. When the drinking stops, the chemical assault ends. Slowly, miraculously, the fog of myopia clears. The storms of anxiety quiet down. The captain wakes up, cleans the cockpit, and takes the wheel back from the lizard. We have seen it happen. Empathy returns. Logic returns. The monster starves to death, and the father you missed comes back to life. But here is the final, most important lesson for you, the family member. You cannot save him. You cannot reason with a lizard. You cannot argue with a broken machine. If you shield the monster from the pain of its choices, the captain never has a reason to wake up. Sometimes you have to let them crash. You have to set boundaries to protect your own sanity first. You didn't cause this, and you cannot cure it. But understanding the science changes everything. The cruelty wasn't about you. It was a glitch in a biological computer. And knowing this allows you to do the hardest thing of all: forgive the human while fighting the disease. Alcohol is a tragedy of chemistry, a simple molecule that hijacks the complex machinery of love. But knowledge is the antidote to fear. If you are living with a monster, know that you are not alone. There are millions of others in the same storm. And if you are the monster, and you are scared of what you have become, please ask for help. The captain is still in there. He just needs a hand to take back the wheel. If you want to support us in making these videos, simply subscribe to the channel or share this story with someone who needs it. Thank you for watching.